Hi you all, it's Jerusha. Today is Saturday, January 20th, I believe, 21st, 2017. I am wanting to do a little video for you on my hair, and I watched a couple people's videos that mentioned me in their videos. I was surprised. I was watching them on YouTube and they mentioned my YouTube channel. And I was like, wow, people are watching. It was really cool. So one was Life on a Half Shell, and I will link to her channel below. And she was talking about being an older woman with dreadlocks and just things that she's noticed. One thing that I wanted to say, she mentioned having like claustrophobia, but she also described how it affected her with like not like, for instance, she described with the dreadlocks, not being able to like run her fingers through her hair because of her dreadlocks, and that was like hard for her to get used to, and it was like a learning experience. It is continuing to be a learning experience for her. And I too have a similar issue. I won't say claustrophobia per se. I have like a sensitivity, like I'm very sensitive physically. My senses are very sensitive. My ears are sensitive. I can hear things or smell things that other people can't smell sometimes, and can be really distracting for me. So the idea of like not being able to run fingers through the hair or be able to stand the way it feels to have dreadlocks against your skin, because other people have asked that on YouTube, like how can you stand how scratchy it must feel against your skin? And of course you can see here I don't really have, it's not long enough to go down my back right now, but it was before it shrunk up. And also against my face, like I've never been able to handle the feeling of my hair, even though it's very fine and small, like the hair individuals are very small, and I could always feel them on my arm. Like if one had come off before I had the dreadlocks and it was like hanging on my arm, even if you couldn't see it very well, I could feel it. And I couldn't stand that feeling of like feeling my hair against my face, so I would often have it pulled back away from my face. Or yeah, like if it would be on my arm. So with the dreadlocks, I have not had a problem, surprisingly. I mean, I do kind of put it back in a ponytail sometimes, but I know, well, it's not great to have it back in a ponytail for the maturation process. And I've been very surprised that my dreadlocks are actually more soft feeling, like not just the ends, but like the actual dreads are not scratchy feeling. They don't feel scratchy. They feel really soft, like really fine felt. And not like felt that's made out of wool, but felt that's just made out of really, really fine, maybe merino wool, I don't know. So that was one thing that I thought of when I watched Life on a Half Shell's video that she did from November that I just saw last night. And I was very grateful because I too was wondering how I'd be able to handle it. I also do like actually run my fingers through my dreadlocks a lot. I touch my dreadlocks a lot. I touch my scalp a lot, and I don't know, sometimes I wonder like what does that look like to other people when I'm doing that, but I really like the way it feels. I like the way it feels in the shower. When they started to come together in the shower, and they were like, I could feel the ropes kind of like solid in there. Like this was probably back in August. I would just love to get in the shower and have the water running down and just feel how stiff like the ropes were like inside the core of the dreadlocks. I love the way that felt. And I was impressed that I still felt that even in the shower with all the water, which usually softens your hair a lot when you don't have dreadlocks. Well, I was feeling the core of the dreadlocks like coming together even back in August, and I only got mine in July 9th, 2016. So there was that. I've been watching some videos on how to tie your hair in knots and put it back. Dollylocks, Alan Leslie has a video on doing that certain way of knotting your hair and like having it go all the way down. My hair's not that long, so I was like, well, I haven't tried doing anything with it in a while as far as knotting goes. So I have. I did go and knot my hair, like 2 of the pieces together. I did it all the way from here, all the way over to here. And you probably can't even see it very well, but I did knot these like 2 together, kind of at a time. And then these 2 that are my dread fringe, kind of like my bangs that are 2 dreadlocks, I kind of attach those together for now. I kind of like them together And I did put a bobby pin in. I hardly ever use bobby pins or any kind of pins whatsoever because I don't want to damage the dreadlocks. And but I did do that, so I don't know. Some of it sticks up though. The ones that I like tied together, knotted together just once, not twice, but I probably could do it twice. But I kind of wanted it to kind of more stand back, but some of them are sticking straight out like that. So that's something I did for the first time in a long time, is try to actually do a hairstyle with my dreadlocks. Let's see what else. So the other thing I wanted to follow up on was healing Malorie. She is talking about dandruff and also about oily scalp. She's still having oily scalp even though she has dreadlocks. And I feel it for her. I'm not sure what it is about her, for her, that she's always had such oily scalp, she says. I think she would have mentioned it if it was like just her putting her hands through her hair a lot or something. But her hair's fine. My hair's fine. I mean, I've had oily scalp in the past, but not to the extent that she has. And so she was saying about how, because, you know, she had some itchy, maybe dandruff, and she was mentioning how, like I was talking about me having some dandruff or itchiness, but yet also not wanting to put oil on my scalp, even though Aileen Leslie from Dollylocks says that oil is great for this issue. So I have been practicing putting the conditioning oils that I got. These are like the trial sizes from Dollylocks a long time ago. I got a package of trials, and I got like maybe 3 different scents of the conditioning oils. They're mainly coconut oil, which is supposed to be better absorbing for the skin than a lot of other oils as far as the molecular size. I just did some research online of the difference between argan oil, which I've told you before, I love argan oil, but Aileen Leslie, Dollylocks, doesn't use argan oil, and so that they like to use coconut oil and some other oils that they put mixed together, but coconut oil is the biggest one. So I will link to the article below I found about hair and skin and using argan oil and coconut oil and the differences. It's a little confusing, really, but it kind of comes out like there are some benefits of one and some of the other, but neither is like necessarily better or worse for the skin and the hair. But Aileen Leslie likes to use coconut oil. Everyone loves coconut these days, and so I have been using this. This oil, if you get the travel size, I would recommend that. It even has this little like hole here, so you can kind of like decide how much comes out. And then just put it on your fingertips. And I have actually like gone and like just rub it into my scalp. And healing Malorie would probably freak out having to do this. And I agree. I mean, I did this before I went to bed last night. I washed my hair yesterday. Still a little bit damp when I went to bed. And I just decided, you know, I'm gonna do it because I have this thing like she does about not wanting to put oil on my scalp, for fear that it's just going to contribute to the oiliness problem. And I can't speak for her as far as that goes. I mean, but I have been trying to just like practice just putting it on just the scalp and also rubbing it in really well, like in circles, really scrubbing it. Because Aileen Leslie in her video talks about how to use it. She says you can even put it on a like a cloth, like a little like washcloth, and use that to kind of rough it up. She's like talking about kind of like using the oil to prevent or treat dandruff, but like to just like really like scrub it. So you're kind of like using it to exfoliate your scalp. But healing Malorie has some like a lot of loose hair that she has around her face, and it's gorgeous. But when I had any loose hair around my face, like, you know, I had from here forward all the way down both sides, that was loose hair. It was my dread fringe. I didn't want it to be dreaded at first. I did notice a definite issue with it getting against my face and it becoming more oily within a day. So I was using dry shampoo. And healing Malorie is a lot more natural than I am. So, I mean, like, even you can get dry shampoo that's natural, but I think she likes to be like really minimal. So, I don't know. I mean, her hair looks beautiful with this like loose hair around her face. Beautiful. Like her dreads look beautiful with all that loose hair that she's got. But for me, you know, I thought it looked nice on me too, but it was just so different in the way that it responded to oil being there, that I decided to dread my fringe, and I did it in a certain way that I decided was better. Like, I didn't dread any further, like I dreaded really far away from my scalp. And then I also left the ends loose. So really it's just like the center section that's dreaded. And then the part here that I wanted to be longer, not dreaded, that I had specially done too. And I might even end up combining these two dreads because they do come apart here, and I kind of like the way they look together. So I'm not sure what I'll do there. I could probably use some kind of a bead, but really it's big. It would be a big bead. I don't really have any big beads that big. So I was just responding to two people's YouTube videos last night. I was just really shocked that they mentioned my name in their video. I was happy, but I was extremely shocked that they were, and I hadn't even known it that they had before when they did the video. That's cool. I do have a lot of things that I'm talking about in my YouTube videos lately, and I still have to figure out which things I'm allowed to talk about and which things I'm not. I mean, yeah, I can like keep talking about dreadlocks, but there are a lot of other stuff going on that I want to talk about. And so I'm just having to figure that issue out as far as like talking to people, helping people with my issues, journey, learning experiences, things that are going on. And I have really opened up a lot here on YouTube, and it's been hard for my family, let's just say that, to handle me speaking about these things. Like, what I would say is that if you have a problem with what I'm saying, maybe it's more of the problem is that you should stop being that way, stop, change, stop hurting people. And that is what I would say as far as, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but yeah, I would say if you don't like it, don't have a problem with someone speaking about it. It's the truth. And I'm not saying people's names, but just work on the problem instead of focusing on the person that you're affecting and complaining about that person, talking about the problem when the problem is there and it is a problem. And it's another part of the invalidating process that people do to other people is they don't want people to talk about it. They want to zero in and target the person who is noticing that there are some really unhealthy things there, and they want to attack them for it. So really, I've taken some videos down that I have had up before, and I still am dealing with the issue of freedom of speech and also the issue of privacy. So that's what I'm talking about. It's been hard for me in my new place here to find a good place to record. I don't like the backgrounds very well. It's hard to get a good background also with good lighting, because when I'm on the camera, I want to be able to show you guys the way my hair looks and the detail and such. And it is hard to find a good place with good lighting that also has a decent background. It's hard to compare to the place I lived before. It's an adjustment period. So I'm glad that I'm finally publishing some of these videos that I've been making for the last 2 weeks. I know that not many people would miss it if I were to go away from YouTube. Not that many people would think much of it. They would get on with their lives. But that's not really what it is. I mean, for me, I've gotten through, I'm almost 41 years old, and I have been silent, and I have been, kept to myself quite a bit for most of my life for a lot of different things. And my being present and being aware, being alive, like just in the world is something that is important to me. Maybe it's more important to me than it is to other people when it comes down to it. They would say, don't put yourself on the line for us. And that's true. I'm putting myself on the line because it's me. And that is what's important to me, is to be there. Even if I'm the only one watching these videos, that's that's what's important to me. Okay. And for me to be connected, even if I don't know if I helped people or not, maybe I didn't help anyone. And I'm not the kind of person that's a martyr. I don't think, hurting myself in order for other people to be better or feel better is not the way I think of things at all. But I do think it's important to be, not just think of myself either. So if both things can be taken care of somewhat, well, that's great. And if they it works out where really people don't like what I'm saying, then that is because it was for me and I did what I thought was right, the right thing to do, and maybe no one else actually benefited from it. I have no idea. I can't say. I mean, I'm not going to just say I'm only doing things if they benefit people, and if I don't have any proof of that, then I'm going to stop doing it, because it's a lot more complicated than that. Life is a lot more complicated than just me or you who's benefiting. Sometimes there are just things that are there. Like, you can't even say whether that's necessarily helpful or not sometimes. But yeah, so thanks for paying attention, and I hope to get a better setting here than this. This is my bathroom, and I don't like the way it looks. It looks very sterile here in the background. I'm looking for a better spot, but for now, it's extremely cold and rainy outside, so I'm going to need to stay indoors, I believe, to record, so... okay. Well, thanks for watching, and I will see you all again very soon.